Okay, so good afternoon and welcome everyone. Before we start the second part of element number three, I'm going to discuss with you the practice questions which I shared with you last week. I gave you guys a scenario on WhatsApp and I requested you to send me your answers. I received quite a few answers and some of them were very good, but some of them were lacking information related to the scenario. So basically, let me read the scenario and read the questions, and then we'll discuss one by one what mistakes you guys made and how you can improve on those mistakes. Okay, so basically the scenario was related to an incident in which an employee was injured in a warehouse. A warehouse is a place where you store material, store objects. It's like a store. So the employee was injured in the warehouse when a forklift truck slipped over some spilled oil. So there was a forklift truck which is used to lift objects, and it was moving and it slipped over some spilled oil and hit large boxes stored on a pedestrian walkway. A pedestrian walkway is a designated path where people on foot are supposed to be walking. Okay, so somebody had stored large boxes on a pedestrian walkway, and the forklift truck slipped and hit the large boxes on the pedestrian walkway. Now, the box fell on the worker nearby, and he suffered a fractured tibia. A fractured tibia means a fractured leg. Okay, tibia is the lower part of your leg, starting from your ankle to your knee. So he suffered a fractured tibia. The company has not provided a safe system of work to the workers. Okay, so there is no safe system of work. There is no segregation between the vehicles and the pedestrians. So the pedestrians and vehicles are not segregated properly. The workers have complained about a congestion a number of times. They also said that the management does not listen to their complaints and are never seen in the warehouse. It was found that in the investigation that the driver was speeding and talking on the phone when the accident happened. And the boxes are often stored in the walkway and on the access to the emergency exit, sometimes blocking it. The driver was carrying the load which was raised and his view was blocked. Due to storage of the boxes, workers often step into the path of the forklift truck. It was also found that the operator had not received any training. Some workers even store boxes in forklift path because there isn't enough space. The company has a HSE management system, but it is not certified. There is no one that the workers can talk to get their message across to the management, and the company is not legally compliant and has a bad reputation, and workers have a low morale. Answer the following question and give reference to the scenario where applicable. Okay, now this is a scenario. In the scenario, you will see there are so many things which have gone wrong. There are so many small things, unsafe acts, unsafe conditions, indicators of poor safety culture are available as well. So there are so many things mentioned in the scenario and they are not mentioned in detail. So basically you have to work on that and generate the detail yourself. So reading and understanding the scenario is very important. So I would suggest you read the scenario at least a couple of times to understand it properly. Okay, so this is basically the scenario. Now let's move on to the questions. So question number one is comment on the implementation of roles and responsibilities of the organization. Okay, now this question carries 10 marks. If the question carries 10 marks, I have explained to you earlier as well that we need to give at least 10 technical points to get 10 marks for this question. So the examiner, they are only going to give you 1 mark for one valid technical point, okay? And you need to make sure that you give sufficient and suitable information in your answer. The answers should not be very brief. Okay, each answer should be at least of 2 to 3 lines. Each point should be of at least 2 to 3 lines, and you need to make at least 10 technical points in your answer. Okay, so what we have to do here is we have to comment on the implementation of roles and responsibility of the organization. So we can give our comments. Reading the scenario, we have to mention which of the organization's responsibilities have they met or have they been fulfilled, or and which of the organization responsibilities have not been fulfilled. Okay, so this is what we have to give our comments on. Okay, now we can read and we can understand from the scenario there are so many things that the organization is not doing. Okay, so let's check the answer now. Now, before going on, let me just remind you that the answers I've given here, I've given very, very brief answers, and you should not write like this in the exam. Okay, these answers are very, very brief. Don't write it like this in the exam. This is just bullet points which I am trying to explain to you. So don't write like this in the exam. In the exam, each bullet point should be written like this. Okay, so you can see the circled part. Okay, the way I have answered point number 1, all of your points must be answered like this. Okay, so don't give brief information like I have given in these points. Okay, your answers should not be brief. This I've mentioned here only to give you the points as the answers. But all these points which I've highlighted, they should be at least 2 to 3 lines long, just like this first point which I have answered. Okay. Okay. Now the first point is safe system of work. Now, if you read the scenario, it is clearly mentioning here in the scenario that the company has not provided a safe system of work to the workers. Okay, so this is information given to us in the scenario, so we can use it in our answer. Number 1, safe system of work. It is evident from the scenario that employer hasn't provided a safe system of work, hence they are not fulfilling their responsibility to provide a safe system of work as per ILO C 155 and R 164. So you guys remember in element number 1 we discussed the responsibilities of the employers as per ILO C 155 and ILO R 164. So these are their responsibilities which they have not fulfilled. Okay, so this is point number 1. Point number 2, company complying with legal requirements, not fulfilling. So the answer should be that it is evident in from the scenario that the organization is not complying with the legal requirements, which is a responsibility as per the ILO C 155 and R 164. Safe workplace. Did the organization provide a safe workplace? No, they did not provide a safe workplace. Why? Because there was no pedestrian crossing. So here you can see it is mentioned here in the scenario. Number 1, congestion is there in the workplace, and also there is no segregation between vehicles and pedestrians. Okay, so this means that the organization has not provided a safe place of work. So the organization responsibility is provide a safe workplace, and they have not fulfilled it. So you will write the answer like this, that the organization has not provided a safe workplace as there is no pedestrian vehicle segregation, hence they are not fulfilling their responsibility of providing safe workplace. Then provision of training. Did they provide any training? There is no training provided to the workers. Again, this is a responsibility which the employer must provide training to their employees, and they are not fulfilling this responsibility as well. Consultation with the workers. It is the employer's responsibility to consult with its workers, to talk to their workers. And in the scenario, it is clearly mentioned that the employer does not talk to their workers. The employees cannot find anybody from the management to talk to. and nobody listens to their complaints, which means there is no consultation with the workers. So the consultation of the workers, which is employer responsibility, it is also not being fulfilled. Provision of resources, again, this is another responsibility of the employer which is not being fulfilled. There is not enough space, there is congestion in the workplace, so there are limited resources. The employer has failed to provide adequate space for the workers to work in, and hence they are not providing adequate resources and not fulfilling their responsibility. Motivation of the workers, it is the employer's responsibility to keep the workers motivated, again, which they are not fulfilling, because if the workers want to talk to them, there is nobody they can talk to. Then number 8, investigation is completed, fulfilling. This is the only responsibility which they have fulfilled. It is the employer's responsibility, legal responsibility, to investigate all incidents and accidents. Here in this scenario, we can understand from the scenario that an investigation was carried out. It is clearly written in the scenario that the investigation was carried out, hence the employer is fulfilling this responsibility. So you can mention that as it is clearly mentioned in the scenario that an investigation was carried out for the incident, which means that they are fulfilling this responsibility. Addressing the workers' complaints, again, that's another responsibility which they are not fulfilling. And finally, there is no workers' representatives assigned. It is also mentioned in the scenario, another responsibility which the employer has failed to fulfill. So this is, guys, this is how you need to write your answers. You need to write it at least 10 points, and each point must be like point number 1. It must be of at least 2 to 3 lines. Okay, so this is the answer to question number 1, which was asked regarding the scenario. Okay, now question number 2. What are the unsafe behaviors taking place in the warehouse? Oh my goodness, there are so many unsafe behaviors. Again, very easy question, and there are many unsafe behaviors. Now, again, this is not the way to write the answer in the exam. I have only given bullet points here to explain to you guys. You will write each point of at least 2 to 3 lines. Okay, so each point you write must be at least of 2 to 3 lines. Don't give just one line as the answer. Okay, so at least 2 to 3 lines must be included in each answer. And this which I have given here, these answers, these are only bullet points. Okay, so what are the answers for this question? What were the unsafe behaviors that were taking place? Number 1, we can clearly read in the scenario where it says that the driver, when the accident took place, the driver was found to be talking on the phone. So that is our first unsafe action which was going on. So while driving, the driver was talking on the phone, which led to the distraction of the driver, and he could not concentrate on driving. So that is the first unsafe action that was taking place. Storing boxes in the walkway. Okay, now this is another unsafe act which people are doing. Walkways are only meant for walking. In a walkway, you should never ever store anything, because if the walkway is blocked, people will bypass, people will go through other way, or people might fall over the boxes. So that is dangerous. That's an unsafe act. Okay, so another unsafe act is that people were storing boxes in the walkway, which can cause workers to trip over the walkway and get injured. Next is blocking emergency exits. It is also clearly mentioned in the scenario that some of the boxes, because of congested space, they have been placed in front of emergency exits. And by blocking emergency exits, you are putting people in danger, because if there is an actual emergency, it will be very difficult for them to evacuate the building easily. So this is another unsafe action which is going on. Workers walking into the vehicle parks. Okay, this is another unsafe practice which is going on in the warehouse. because there are so many boxes stored in the walkway and there is congested space, the workers are walking into the vehicle path, which can behave safely. If you have a negative attitude, sorry. Yes, Junaid, you want to say something?
No, sir. Sorry, sir.
Okay. So basically, when you have workers walking into the vehicle path, that is an unsafe practice which can lead to a collision between the workers and the forklift trucks. Then there is oil spillage, that is another unsafe practice. It seems that there is poor maintenance of the vehicles and there has been oil spillage which has not been cleaned. So if there is any oil spillage, we must immediately clean it. So there was oil spillage on which the forklift slipped and caused an accident, which is an unsafe practice and it must be cleaned immediately. Carrying load in a raised position blocking the view. This is another unsafe practice. Whenever you are driving a forklift, you must always make sure that your view is clear. If you cannot see where you are going, that is going to cause an accident. So carrying the load in a raised position is also an unsafe practice. In the comments, I received a comment regarding poor housekeeping. Yes, poor housekeeping is also there. That's also an unsafe practice. Overspeeding, the driver, it is mentioned in the scenario that the driver was overspeeding. So inside a warehouse, if you carry out overspeeding and there are workers working nearby, you are putting them in risk of being injured. Okay, so that is also an unsafe practice. Overspeeding is also an unsafe practice which is going on. Storing boxes in the vehicle path, that is another unsafe practice which was going on in the scenario. Poor housekeeping was also mentioned in the scenario. So that is also an unsafe practice which is going on, which can cause slips and trips and cause the vehicle to collide with the boxes, as we saw in the accident. And working in a congested area because the management hasn't provided them enough space and the area is congested. So the workers are storing boxes here and there, and that is causing an unsafe practice as well. So these are 10 points. Again, all of these 10 points were mentioned in the scenario. Now, when there are questions related to the scenario, you must answer only related to the scenario. Okay. So the question was, what are the unsafe behaviors taking place in this warehouse or in the warehouse? So these are the unsafe practices or unsafe behaviors that were taking place in the warehouse. Okay, next is question number 3. Now, question number 3 is you are going to get ISO 45001 certification for this company. Based on the scenario only, what are the likely benefits to this organization from a certified management system? Okay, now it was clearly mentioned in the scenario that the organization is not legally compliant. So now, because we have the question specifies based on the scenario only. So all our points, they must be related to the scenario only. If any point is not related to the scenario, then obviously we will lose marks. Yes, negligence of management is also an unsafe behavior. You can consider that the management is neglecting the complaints or the workers, or they're not paying attention to the workers and their health and safety, which is also an unsafe behavior. Okay, so now here we have to mention 10 benefits which this organization can achieve based on the scenario only. Okay, so let's go and see. Now, as we read in element number 1, there are many benefits of complying with or having a complying management system with ISO 45001. So ISO 45001 certification, it will help you comply with the legal requirements. So as it is clearly mentioned as a scenario that the organization is not legally compliant, hence if we get this certification, it is going to help us meet with the legal requirements and we will comply with the legal requirements. Okay. It will also demonstrate management commitment. it is clearly evident from the scenario that the management is not interested in the work because they never show, the people never see them. They never, they are never visible in the workplace. Okay, so which means the management is not demonstrating commitment. So having a certified management system is going to help the organization demonstrate commitment from the management. Okay. Again, in the scenario, it was mentioned that the organization does not have a safe system of work, and having a certified safety management system, it will help the organization establish a safe system of work. Okay, also it was clearly evident in the scenario that the workplace at the moment is not a safe workplace. Once you get a certified management system, it will help the organization have a safe workplace. Improved consultation with the workers. Again, we can see from the scenario that the workers, they are not being consulted on HSE issues, and having a certified management system will help us improve consultation with the workers. Because as you guys remember, ISO 45001 element includes one very important element, which is participation and consultation with the workers. So if you have a certified management system, it will help you improve the consultation with the workers. Okay, another issue that the organization, the management were not providing adequate resources. Once you have a certified management system, and in order to sustain that certification, management will have to provide the resources. So that is also another benefit. Raise the workers' morale. Again, the workers have a low morale, which is mentioned in the scenario. And once you have a certified management system, the people will consider it a very, very good step, and it will raise their morale. It will also help in addressing the workers' complaints. Okay, so the workers obviously, their complaints are not being listened to at the moment. It was clearly mentioned in the scenario, but once we have a what you call it, manual system in place, it will help us address the workers' complaints. Then it will help us assign management workers representatives, which are not at the moment appointed. It will improve the reputation of the organization. Again, in the scenario, it is clearly mentioned that the organization has a poor reputation, and having a management system which is certified will improve the reputation. It will also help reduce the number of accidents. It will mention the scenario that the organization is having accidents, and having a certified management system will help reduce it, and it will help better manage the risks as well. So these are the answers for question number 3, guys, and these are all relevant to the scenario. And again, as I told you guys, you should not answer them in this form. Okay, so each what you call it point, it should be of at least 2 lines or 2 to 3 lines, in which you demonstrate the knowledge that you have, the understanding that you have of the questions. Okay, guys, any questions that you have? I think Puneet raised his hand. So Puneet, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, sir. Regarding this last question, these
Yeah.
all benefits are more related and more beneficial to the workers, like more than the company. Like what are the benefits of the company would get when they will get this certification of ISO 4000 45001?
Brother, if you read these carefully, these are not to the workers only. What is the benefit of compliance with the legal requirements to the workers? Nothing. The benefit of compliance with legal requirements is to the company. The company is not legally compliant at the moment. So once they have a certified management system, the certified ISO management system, it says that you must have a legal register, and you must incorporate legal requirements in your management system. So once the organization has a certified management system, it will help them comply with the legal requirements. So this is benefit to the organization. The organization is not demonstrating any commitment from the management. That is their benefit. Improved reputation, that is company's benefit. Reduce
Yeah, sir. Some of these reputation is like a good one for the company. But my question is like these all things related to ISO 45001,
Yes.
it will increase the like the work of the company. Like they need to put more efforts on this if they get this certification.
Brother, they will get the
So
benefits as well. These are the benefits which they are getting.
okay,
This is
okay, okay.
not,
The legal requirements.
yeah, compliant
Okay.
with the legal requirements is a benefit. They are
Yeah.
going to be able to demonstrate management commitment. That's a benefit. It will help the organization have a safe system of work, because if you don't have a management system, you cannot develop a safe system of work. Once you get a certified management system, as per that certified management system, you are supposed to develop procedures. Those procedures are your safe system of work. So once you get certified, you have a safe system of work in place. Okay. Once you have a certified management system, you will have a safe workplace. So these are all benefits which the organization will achieve.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, guys? Somebody else has also raised their hands. Adil, you raise your hands. You want to say something? No, I don't think so. So let me just check the chat box. Somebody had questioned, put a question in the chat as well. Sir, please, the difference between safe system and safe workplace. Okay. Safe system of work is not the same as a safe workplace. There is a clear difference between a safe system of work and a safe workplace. A safe workplace basically is your workplace in which there are certain controls in place which make you safe. For example, if you have vehicles moving in your workplace, okay, and you have people crossing in the same area, okay. So what is the risk here? The people are not safe at the moment. Why? Because because there is a risk that the vehicles will collide with the workers, okay, and they will get injured. So this is not a safe workplace. This is not a safe workplace. So once you provide segregation between the people and the vehicles, you provide a barrication, you provide a guardrail or a barrier, provide New Jersey barriers, it will keep the workers away from the vehicles. Now this is a safe workplace. Okay, so this is a safe workplace. Now what is a safe system of work? Now a safe system of work, basically it is nothing physical. A safe system of work is a procedure, it is a system, it is a program. For example, having a permit to work system in your organization, that is a safe system of work. Okay, so a safe workplace is not the same as a safe system of work. Another safe system of work is like having a lockout tagout, lotto. Okay, so lotto is basically lockout tagout system. This is a safe system of work. What is a lotto basically? Because lotto, whenever you work on live systems, live plant, etc., on live electrical systems, you are exposed to the risk of being electrocuted, or you are being exposed to release of energy. So what will you do before working on a live system? You will lock it out and you will put a tag. Okay, so you will put a lock on the distribution board. So if you're working on the distribution board, nobody will switch it on, and you will put a tag on it to mention that do not operate. So this is called lockout tagout. That is also a safe system of work. So a safe system of work is like a procedure or a system or a program. A safe workplace is a safe working environment. Okay. So this is the difference between safe system of work and a safe workplace. Okay. Any other questions, guys, related to this?